What's the worst decision you've ever made? The one that it seemed like practical sense in real time, but then soon after you realize like, oh my God, I never should have done that. I can't believe it. And again, I'm not talking about burning off your eyelashes like I did the other day. No, I'm talking about ones that they seem so dumb, but at the time they made so much sense. Anyway, that's what we're talking about today. I'm Adam Pears. This is the Pear Naked Truth podcast about life, love, just everything. Anyway, I'm going to get dressed and then I'm going to come tell you about the secret bad decisions that I don't tell people about because they would. Anyway, all right. Stay tuned. I'll be right back. See, even just like telling you this, I get a little bit nervous. But the whole point of why I have this podcast is that I feel like, not I feel like, that people do. I'm going to say this with my whole chest that you have people that are successful and seem so knowledgeable and worldly when you see them, but most of them didn't come out the womb that way. I didn't. I'll speak for myself. I didn't. I was a mess for many years. There were maybe like decades. There were a couple decades in there that that things were touch and go. But I learned and matured, and now people see me and never would have thought like these other versions of myself existed in the past, and before I was ashamed of them or like hid them or even forgot that they existed. I forgot that I was autistic. I forgot that I had an autism diagnosis because I buried those things so far. And I just wanted to look at the pristine, controlled life that I've created for myself, hard earned work, but then forgot all of the work and the struggles and the mistakes because I looked at them as points of shame that they never should have happened. And if I were to have been smarter and more aware and self-possessed, that I wouldn't have made those decisions, and then I just wanted to forget that they ever happened. Although those decisions are what inform how I can make good decisions, and and give me street cred too that I didn't realize when I'm telling people these stories sometimes. Even just this is like not what I'm talking about today. I have to warm myself up, But when I was talking to my podiatrist because I told you I broke my foot in that like horrible bike accident like a couple months ago. Anyway, so I was talking to the podiatrist and I was telling her what I did for Google and like making these like internal tools, and she asked if I went to school for that. So usually when people ask me that, I always think that it's a bad thing that I didn't go to school for that. That my major wasn't computer science; it was politics and German. And then I told her like, no, I didn't. And she goes like, wow, so you taught yourself that? And I was like, oh, I never thought of it that way. I never thought of that. I always looked at it as I made the mistake of majoring in these things that I'm not using. And I should have done these things, and people that did major in that are somehow better than I am, or like made better decisions. And so it was always like a not shame, like shame's a harsh word or like a strong word for that, but it was something that I carried and didn't think of it as a positive. And then when somebody can change the perspective around, and then I'm like, oh yeah, I guess I did teach myself those things. Anyway, that's not a bad decision, but perspective. Anyway, it all starts with gas prices, and I think it's apropos to right now. So let me set the scene for you. It's 2007. I'm 19 years old in Washington, driving this beater of a car, driving to an hourly job at a call center that is like an hour away from my house. I'm going there because I want to get out of the suburbs and go see men, and I need an excuse. But downside, gas prices were like $6 a gallon at the time. So literally, my whole check went to getting me to work, and I had like nothing to show for it. This is also before Uber and a whole lot of other things. So I'm trying to give you the mindset of like where we were, like as a country and me personally at this time. And I've told you I've run out of gas multiple times. There are multiple times that my brother would have to run up the street and like push me down a hill, and then we put it in neutral, and I have to guide it to the gas station. So that had happened multiple times. So I had met this guy. There was an older guy, white, like online. I mean, it's not really important, but I'm trying to give you an understanding of who this man is. So he lived in Issaquah, Washington. If you live in Seattle, you know that that's like far. So that Issaquah is maybe an hour into the country, rural parts of Washington, and things get crazy there very quickly. Like it really drops off once you go above beyond Bellevue and the suburbs of Lake Washington. It becomes podunk, backwoods. There's always like some sort of weird animal thing that happens there, like the yes, there's all sorts of weird things that happen in Issaquah and further out in Washington. So this is where I was going to meet this guy that seemed handsome and put together, but as a gesture, because he said, "Hey, I know that gas prices are really high. Why don't you meet me at the parking lot of the Kroger of the neighbor of the Kroger in the main part of town, and you can leave your car there, and then I'll just drive you to my place." Like further in, because it's going to be another like 15 miles or so, and just like save gas, like both of us are going the same place. My 19-year-old mind was like, "Oh, that's great, perfect. Like this is the great idea. Then I save money, and because the round trip on that would be like so much, and I already blah 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 blah." So I was excited. I met this guy on Manhunt, or Adam for Adam. It was like Manhunt, Adam for Adam, maybe even Adult Friend Finder. I was a pioneer of the online dating hookup things. OG Craigslist thought. So I like met this guy there. I'm 19. He's like maybe 41, but a good looking 41, and seemed like quirky and like kind of silly. That in my mind I'm like, oh, this is fun. I feel like I'm talking to a peer. Again, in hindsight, that should have been a red flag that I'm 19 and I'm talking to this 41-year-old, and it seems like we're peers. So I show up to and again, I'm already ready for this date and excited. Leave my car, and there are these kids in a pickup truck that's parked like next to me, and they're in the back of the pickup, and it looks like one of those movies. And it looks like it's like Saturday Night Lights, or what is it, Friday Night Lights? I barely saw that movie, but it looks like it looks like one of those football movies where somebody gets like roughed up, or what's the Roundhouse, one of those 80 like thrillers where somebody like pulls out ninja moves and like has to break beer bottles. Like this is the setup. And my pants were like really tight, and they were like making comments about it. But I was just like minding my business and just ready to go with it. But the guy that I was with, uh, oh, should I come up with a name? We'll call him the chef. We'll call him the chef. So the chef is like taller and like larger than me, because especially at the time I'm like a twink, like maybe 120 pounds. Again, this is like a hardcore eating disorder time as well too. So I like just said, why don't we just like go? There's nothing to make a scene about. But then he starts engaging with them, and so he's like calling them names and telling them that they're like the inbred sister fuckers, something on the back of the truck, like really like going out. And I'm like, well, I love this man like defending my honor, but also there's like four of them, and I don't feel like fighting. Like, and you're also old, and these look like high school kids. Like, what are you gonna like really beat up? So then he like grabs one of them off of the truck, and then now I'm like covering my head, and I'm like, oh my god, like what's happened? This is escalating like so quickly. I'm telling him just like, let's just leave. Like, don't worry about it. Let's just leave. Let's just leave. So we get in the car and then drive, and I'm just trying to cool him down. So now we're, yes, like I was like, ooh, that was weird, but that's like crazy. I'm so glad that was over it. He's like still hyped up about it, and I'm like just trying to calm him down, and like let's just like settle into the night. So we're driving down, and again, as you're going out from the main part of town, it always starts like usually that way. Like when first you have the like large like maybe ranch homes that are still like multi-million-dollar places, that own a lot of land, and it's beautiful and scenic, and then it starts to become more scarce. Then there's just land, and then there's like a weird shack, or or just random phone box or like mailboxes along the street, and you just realize like, oh, that it's been like a half mile since I've seen the last mailbox, and I'm like, where are we going? Then it's another road, and it keeps turning, and now it's like starting to get a little bit dark. And then in my mind I'm thinking like, okay, there's no way that I can walk back to my car. Like this was like the first thing. I'm like, but you're fine. Like this guy is like so nice and sweet, and you've talked to him before. And I even met him before. Like, okay, all right. So I had met him before in town because he happened to be doing a construction job in downtown Seattle, and I had met him before. Okay, all right. I'm giving myself a little bit more credit here. Uh, so this wasn't the first time meeting that I'm going to. So I'd met him before. He seemed great. He was charming. Now I'm meeting him at the Kroger. He had pulled up off a teen off of the back of a pickup truck and was about to like beat up these kids. And now I'm like, okay, this is a little bit rowdier than I thought I was signing up for. But everything seems fine now. We go into his house, and it's a cute, neat house. He's like renting it from someone. He's on a lot of land, and it's like very private and quiet, and he says how he like likes to go naked on his porch and had a hot tub, and he's like, we could go out and be naked, and I'd never been in a naked hot tub before, like under the stars. And I'm like, oh, it sounds so romantic. Anyway, so we go in, like have sex, it's great, we're like watching, it's like fun and vibing, and it's like a few hours even. So we've been there for a few hours and just really enjoying the time. And then then he gets a phone call, and the way that it shook him, like it was a vibe shift instantly. And I was like, "What's going on?" And he's like, "Oh, nothing. It's a business thing that came up. I had some work that I needed to finish, and I think I'm gonna have to like finish up some stuff like while you here, if that's okay, because I don't think I have time to drive you back." And I'm like, "Well, that's fine. Like you can finish up work stuff, and I can just occupy myself." In my mind, because again of my background, work stuff. In my mind, work stuff, those are documents on computers. I mean, my parents were engineers, so the scope or the breadth of what I could even imagine work to be was not as wide as it was about to be expanded to. So I go out to the porch, and again I'm like enjoying the naked, and I hear like raised voices on the phone, like something's happening in there, and I'm not quite sure. And he's getting more agitated, and now it's starting to be like some of the energy that I was feeling in the parking lot, and I'm just like, I'm not quite sure what's going on. Getting agitated, I'm trying to calm him down, and he said, well, I need to start baking. And in my mind I'm like, oh, baking, I bake cookies, like what are we baking? And he's like, no, it's I need to like bake some tea. And I was like Tina. And I was just like, what do you mean like Tina? Well, like what is Tina? And he's like crystal meth. And I was like, well, oh no, he said another thing, and like crystal, and I was like crystal meth. And, and then he got like mad at me, and he was just like, why are you judging like this? If you and your like rich friends will probably do like powder coke, like there's nothing different than that. And I'm like, and I'm also like cooking crack. I was like, cooking crack? And I'm like, and I'm like trying to contain my shock because I see like how it's affecting him. So I'm like trying to manage this adult man, and then now everything is like flooding into my mind. Like, oh my god, am I in a crack den? Like, how did I end up in a crack den? And then that's when I realized like I am so far in the middle of nowhere. My reception is not working. At the time, this is pre iPhone. Everybody had their own charger. So I don't even have the same charger as this man. So my phone is starting to die now. I don't have reception. And in my mind, I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe that I have put myself in this situation right now. And what do I do? And so now I'm just trying to make it seem chill because he's already like worked up, and I'm just like looking around trying to like problem solve while I'm going through this. So now he's like bringing out the crack, and he's like, and there's no difference between, and he's going on this rant that was like, oh, why is everybody turned into my dad? Like my crazy lunatic dad giving me rants about like some grievance that they have. And it's like, meanwhile, can we just get back to the fact that you didn't tell me that you're going to start cooking crack and meth for this? So he's cooking naked, like in the kitchen. I am away from it because I don't even want to like inhale it, but I wish I didn't know what crack smelled like. Well, but I've lived in San Francisco, and walking down the streets, you'll know. So I am not alone with that. And so now he's like cooking this up, but then the friend, but not the friend, not the friend, the business person is like now coming over, and I'm in the hot tub, and he said like, well, his girlfriend will be here too, so you won't be alone. And in my mind, I'm like, how do I get out of this situation? And I'm just praying. I'm like, please God, like let me. And I'm like, you know what? Is there any way that you could drop me off at home, or we're not home, but back to my car before they come over, because it's getting a little bit late, and my dad, I don't want my like dad to be worried about me. And while I'm saying, but I'd already like set up so many like lies saying that I was staying at my imaginary friend Christy's house and all of these things. So nobody's going to be looking for me either. And that's what I was also thinking too. I'm like, oh my God, no one's going to be looking for me. If anything happens right now, I am in the middle of the woods in Washington in a crack den. And I'm like, is this a trailer? And then in my mind, I was like, oh my gosh, this was a double wide and I didn't even know it because it was raised off the ground. I was like, oh, there was just so much happening at the time to take in. It's like how I couldn't take all this in. I was like thinking about the hot tub and under the moon, and I would like finally get away for like this like romantic little like rendezvous in the woods. And especially because I'm not an outdoors person, I always like when there's like a little bit of an outdoorsy aspect that I enjoy, because then I can point to that on dating profiles and be like, oh, see, I do like the outdoors. You know, I did that one time. But now it's like the one time I did, it's like a cracked in meth trailer, you know, in the middle of the woods, and now I'm fearful for my life, and I'm trying not to panic, and I'm trying to keep things together. The guy comes over, they start arguing, and like getting really heated, and I am like now outside pretending to like look at the stars and just to be completely away, and now I've taken my clothes and I'm outside. Now I'm thinking like I might have to make a run for it. There are raised voices inside. He like pulls out then I see like a gun, or you know, and I then my heart is just like pounding, and I'm just like, oh my God, this cannot be how I die. Of all of the places, please God, just don't let me die here. I'll sully my name, my family's name. I'll never hear the end of it, even when I'm dead. So then I'm outside, and now I'm getting upset, and I'm like, you know what? I think I need to go like more Danzel, and like I'm not in control, and like let him feel my discomfort and get some sympathy. So this is also like how I was learning how to deal with men, especially like older men, and the games that you have to play and in these situations. And so I went with Danzel, and that I was scared, and I like him, but I like don't like what's happening, and I'm like really uncomfortable, and but no judgment at all. And I'm just like nervous. I'm shy around new people, is like how I how I put it. I'm just like shy, you know. I don't tell anybody that I'm gay, and now they're gonna know that I'm gay. Like making it like this is a coming out of the closet situation, and of my discomfort with my like homosexuality, and not the discomfort with the crack and meth that he was cooking in the kitchen. So finally, I convince him. He drives me back, and then the whole time I'm like reassuring him reassuring him in the car that it has nothing to do with what was happening back at the house. This is really just like my own insecurity about being gay, and like being out in the woods, and I'm scared of spiders. I was like coming up with any reason of why I wanted to go back to the car. Went back to the car, paint on the hood. So the hillbilly kids had, I guess, come back, put paint all over the hood of my car, which was not really my car. It was like my, the situation when you're a teenager borrowing cars. And I'm like, oh my God, now I have to explain this on top of everything else. Yes. So again, this was a bad decision. I can't believe I made it. And in all to save what, $15, $20. And it was the difference between life and death. I could have died in this situation, and all of it was $20. And so sometimes I think about that when I judge harshly now about people making silly mistakes, and they're not wanting to pay for a toll or whatever it is. And then I realize like, oh, I have been in those situations where it seems like $20 is make or break. But I just want to remind you, and anybody in those situations, the $20, pay the $20. That's the lesson here. Do not put your life at risk for $20. And if you can't muster it up from somewhere, I understand like overdrafts, then that means you don't go. You find some Monopoly. You pull out the board game and figure out another plan. But do not risk your life over $20. And always take your car. You never take your car, excuse me, never leave your car someplace that you can't walk back to. Just like when I watched Oprah and they said, never go to the second location. This time I took myself to the second location. I was like, how did I do this? I knew that. I watched Oprah as a kid and I knew you never go to the second location. And somehow I got duped into going to the second location. So that's the other two things here. Don't risk your life over saving $20. Don't take yourself to the second location. Always have a way out. And bring a charger. Three things. Anyway, that's like number one bad decision that I made that I lived from. Learned to tell the tale, and I don't want you to do the same. Let me tell you about another terrible decision of my youth. And this is a whole year before the meth accidentally ending up in a meth lab. I'm in DC. I'm 18 years old. I had gone to Cornell for the summer to start off, tried to unalive myself while I was there, got put on a year hiatus, like not even a medical leave, just forced deferment. So now I'm in Virginia, like Fairfax, city of Fairfax, outside of DC, living with my stepdad, his new wife, his senile mother that lived in the basement, and my brother. That's a whole nother story. We're not going to talk about that right now. But this is where I met my best friend Victor, who was part of my coming out awakening. When he outed me to everybody at work, when he asked me if I was gay, I said I don't know, and then he told everybody that I was, and I was like, well, I guess I'm out now. So that was Victor. But Victor partied hard. There was drinking. When I met him, he had already had 3 DUIs, but hadn't gone to. Oh, I'm putting out his tea on there. Like, Victor, I love you. Anyway, but hadn't gotten in trouble because they were so close together that he hadn't been convicted of the first one before he got the 3. Anyway, but so that was the situation. He had a car. At one point, he had decided that he was going to move out of his house, and because his parents were like, "You can't drink anymore if you live here." And then he's like, "You know what? Fine, I'm going to move out and become a supermodel." And came to live outside of my house in the car, in his car outside of my stepdad's house, and I would sneak him in at night to eat and shower, and in my house while my new step. I don't even know what you call that when your stepdad. Anyway, there's so many stories here. Let me focus on my decision instead of telling everybody else's poor, terrible decisions. But let's focus on myself. So I was 18. We'd gone out for the night. Victor was going to be the designated driver because he wanted to stay at home with his parents because he had just moved back. So he had that stint where that's a whole nother, there's so many stories there. But he had a stint, realized that he's not going to become a supermodel overnight, and he needed to go back home and live with his parents, who are very lovely, wonderful people that have a beautiful house in Fairfax, and just very loving and supportive. And I'm just Victor, why are you going out when, anyway, you have sorry. Okay. So Victor and I are going out, and we're going out with I was working at Guess at the time. So it was Ginny Chan, who was this bigger than life, beautiful Asian woman, girl woman, fake lashes, but the most fabulous person that I had ever seen at the time. And reminded me of Kimora Lee. Think of Kimora Lee Simmons, and had all of these men visiting the store, and we just thought that she was just the hottest girl. So we're dressed up for the club. Victor's going to be the designated driver because he's going to be on the straight and narrow, and he's trying to be good. And so I'm okay, great, I can finally let loose, because usually I have to be the one that's somewhat coherent because I have to figure out what's going on. So we're getting to the club, and again, we're underage. This is college night at one of the clubs, so it's the only time that it's under 21 allowed. And so we're putting chapstick on the back of our hands. Again, chapstick is bring it with you everywhere because there's so many uses for it. So you put chapstick on the back of your hands, and then when they X your hand to show that you're not 21, it just wipes right off. So we're lubing up, in the back. I am doing shots of straight alcohol that I had stolen from the bar in my home and just like drinking because I'm like, all right, well, let me just drink now because I can't come back out of the club and I can't drink the rest of the night. So I drink while we're there. We go in, we're dancing. And of course, like Victor, after like burning me several times, this is back when you could smoke in the clubs too. So I'm getting burned by his cigarettes all night. And he said that he wasn't going to drink, but then he shows like meets some guy and now the guys are buying him drinks and I'm like, Victor, like I thought you weren't going to drink, like you're supposed to be the one driving home. And he's like, I'll be fine, I always like do this. And I'm like, no. Now he's like stealing wristbands from old men in the club. Like this was the other thing. So he would go dance with some like sorry old man and then steal the wristband and have chewing gum and then put the wristband on and then buy drinks. So I'm trying to stop him, but once he gets started he can't stop. And he's going, we're going. Anyway, we have like a fun night, like dancing. Jenny is with us. She's keeping it together because she left her car at the mall. So she left her car at the mall and drove into the city with us. We're ready to go. Jenny's driving and drives us back to the mall, but then she's like, "Okay, well, you guys have to like get home by yourself." And at this point now, Victor is like passed out, like not conscious. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, what do I do? I don't want to drive because I've been drinking, but what do I do? Like, and this is again, this is before Uber. So and I thought, so why is this relevant now? And like, why am I like telling you this story? Because it's so easy to think about. Oh, it's like, why don't people just call Ubers? And or why don't you just like call a Lyft? But there were situations, and again, I'm not this like hold with me because I'm not giving an excuse, but there are times where that is not a possibility. Even when you go out to any of a rural place or the suburbs, even when I just went to Scottsdale and tried to get an Uber there were no Ubers in these places. When you go out east in New York, it'll be an hour plus for like waiting for a car and it may never come. So people have to make the decision not to drive and sometimes it's not convenient. A lot of times it's not convenient and you have to be okay with that. So options, I could have slept in the car and just like slept in that parking lot and just waited. I could have I couldn't have called anybody, you know, and I think I couldn't have called my stepdad. I would have gotten kicked out. There were like very limited options here. And again, like broke. So I'm like, you know what? I think I'm okay. Let me do a Red Bull and let me just like try to like figure this out. It took me an hour and a half to get out of the parking lot of the mall, of the empty parking lot of a suburban mall. I could not find the exit because I was so drunk. I'm finally like find my way out of the exit, driving down these, and again, it's like the country roads in Virginia, so there are no lights, and they're swerving, and there are deer like popping out, and everything. The heart is just racing and sweating. That type of sweat that like drips down your arms when you're just like so stressed, and I'm gripping the steering wheel, having things together. I pull up to Victor's house. He opens the door. The bottle of vodka falls out and breaks in his like parents' driveway. He doesn't have his key. Goes up to the front door. Is like knocking on the door again. It's five in the morning, for like four or something like that. His dad opens the door and slaps him across the face, and I'm like, oh. Well, Victor, good luck with that. Let me just try to get myself home in one piece. And so then now I'm like driving closer, and I lived like closer to the city at this point. So now I'm like driving in and trying everything to stay awake because I'm just falling asleep while I'm driving and really like trying because even on my best days I fall asleep in the middle of the afternoon. So the radio's up, the windows are going, and I am just trying to stay awake. And now I'm like in the city of Fairfax and I'm almost home. And I'm like, okay, we're in like the downtown. Things are like going. I'm almost there. And we stop at it was a long red light. And then the next thing I know, I'm hearing a tap on the window. And I wake up and I realize I had fallen asleep at the red light. I had fallen asleep at the red light. And not just any red light. Not just any red light. It was the long paved, like think of a cobblestone walkway that leads you to the police station of Fairfax, of the city of Fairfax. I'd fallen asleep drunk in front of the police station in Fairfax, the city of Fairfax. And the knock on the door is an officer waking me up. And my whole life flashes before my eyes. I'm just like, oh my God, this could be the end of me. And I like turn off the engine, and again I'm like pounding. And at first, my thought is like, "Ooh, he's so handsome," and then I'm like, "Adam, focus! Like, what are you doing? This is the time for a date." And so then I go into like survival mode. It's like, how do I like become like the most sympathetic? That I need them to see me as a person, and that this is a mistake, and I am a good kid, and that this is just a bad situation. And so he asked if I'd been drinking. I said yes. And he said how much, and I said that I had had 2 shots, which, but I mean, I had much, much more than that. But at this point, now it had been so many hours since I had been drinking. Uh, yes, because I mean, the hour and a half getting out of the mall parking lot, going to Victor's house. Now we're like 4 hours later, so he could tell I was a little bit drunk, but it seemed to be more in line with like someone had just had 2 shots. I had told him how I was not supposed to. The designated driver became too drunk and like passed out, and I had to take him home. That's why I'm driving a car that's not mine, and. And then I said, like, I go to Cornell. I'm here visiting for the summer for my friend, and of course I have my school ID, and just tell him, just really like trying to appeal to his good nature. And then he realized, like, oh well, you're less than a mile away. Follow me, turn on the car, follow me to the parking lot. And so we went to the parking lot. He told me to put the keys underneath the car. He's going to watch me, and I had 2 options. I could sleep in the car and drive home in the morning, or I could walk home because I was walking distance to my house right now, and that he would just write me a ticket for not. And he said he would write me a ticket for having an out-of-state license because I still had my New Jersey license, but I'd been living in Virginia for a while. He gave me the benefit of doubt because I didn't look like a degenerate. I was a degenerate because I had done everything that night, and this wasn't like the first time I had been rowdy. I was a rowdy 18-year-old, but he gave me the benefit of doubt, saw me as a human and as a kid that made a bad mistake when he was trying to do a good thing. I was trying to get my friend home safely and myself, and but made a bad call. He could have ended my world then and didn't. And I'll like always be appreciative of that. But also the things that I learned is like you can't look like your struggles. You can't look like you are uh 3 sheets to the wind and like don't have your shit together. Like that comes to all of the beauty tips that I like give you. It seems like jokes, haha, until your life is on the line. You can't have chapped lips. You can't have chapped lips when your life is on the line. You can't have red eyes. You need to appeal to somebody that you look like you could be their son or their nephew or their daughter. It's like something of humanity to give you the benefit of doubt and a chance to make better choices in the future without severely crushing your life. And that's also why again, these are how I get my necessities. And that leads me to my favorite thing. But anyway, we'll get to that. This is, again, one of the terrible decisions. What did we learn here? Be ready if you're drinking out and don't have a ride home to be uncomfortable. Maybe that means you sleep in your car that night. And that's just one of those things. Or you have to call a friend to help you get home. But driving should not be part of that. Anyway, that's it. And this is my favorite part of the show. This is the pair necessities. This is where I share with you, my friend, the favorite things that I can't live without. The things that I use in my everyday life. Nobody's paying me to do this. These are the things that get me through the essentials, the necessities that everybody should be using. And today I'm going to talk about Lumify eye drops. This is for everybody. Anybody seeing this. Red eyes can land you in jail. You could lose your life, marriage, all these things. You cannot have red eyes. Lumify eye drops. Cannot live without these. Now, and you think I'm being dramatic, but I'm not. There's so many times that you just need somebody's goodwill, that you can't look like a degenerate. You can't look like you have been smoking whatever and your eyes are bloodshot and now you're trying to ask for help, or that you've run out of gas and you need someone to give you a ride. You can't look like you've been up all night and don't have your life together. That is where clear eyes matter. This is why this is you. This isn't just a beauty thing. This is a job interview. This is a date that even and it's so annoying because it's I have really bad allergies and my eyes are constantly red. And it's something that people constantly comment on that just all the time of like, why are your eyes red? I'm like, because I have allergies. Why is that such a thing? People judge your life choices by how white your scleras are. You can't have red eyes. Having red eyes will lose you jobs, relationships, friends, get you in trouble if you're out beyond curfew. Nobody's going to believe that you're just studying and you come in with bright red eyes. Even if it's just allergies, nobody, you need this. And I've been using these for years. I just realized that they're in the TikTok shop and online, and there's some really good deals there too. So what they do and why this is so much better than any of the other, I won't name the other brands, but so many of them will damage your eye over time that you can't use them multiple times a day. And the more that you use them, the redder and drier your eyes become. These don't do that. The Lumify, it's great. They last around like 6 to 8 hours. So I do it in the morning and I can get through most of the day and it just makes everything look brighter and healthy and that I look like I've slept. Like right now, I haven't slept in a day. I mean, that's a different story, but it doesn't look like I've been up all night. And that's the point. That's what's important here. And anyway, so it's down below. This is how you like find my favorite things, the Pear Necessities. It's in the link below at the TikTok shop, but also scamlikely.com. That's how you support me, the show. Come over and you'll hear how eye drops have kept me out of prison. I could be in jail right now if if I looked like a degenerate. So this is why this is important. This is why this matters to you, regardless of who you are or how whatever life you live. Anyway, can't wait to see you again. And thanks for coming over.